Hello everyone, how are you? This is Barbara Choi from Hong Kong Adventist College. And during this time for the Vegfest, usually you will come into our campus in Clearwater Bay. But due to the situation of the COVID-19, that's why we have to take this special talk with you. My title for today is N and N. And what do you mean by N and N? N is nutrition. N, non-communicable diseases. And these two are really heavily related in our daily life. So let's see the definition for the nutrition first. The process of providing or obtaining the food necessary for health and growth. And we know that in life, we have to be aimed that we spend a healthy lifestyle. And also with the process, with the health, and other benefit is to help us to grow gracefully or healthily. And nutrition is the branch of science that deal with nutrients and the nutrition, particularly in human. We are here, live to eat or eat to live. But whatever it is, we live on this earth that you have to have some food. You have to have, nutrient to nourish our body, to keep us alive, keep us going, give us energy, and also reproduce. That's how animals, they extend their lifespan from one generation to another generation. And it's very important, the health and disease and cannot separate it. I'm sure no one expected this COVID-19 will last that long. I still remember in 2003 when Hong Kong had SARS. That time that I also in the campus there, then. And I still remember one of our faculty was contacted with this SARS because he, as an older brother, and then go to visit his sister, younger sister, that was having fever and in Baptist hospital. And he went to visit her. Her sister had SARS, and he contacted the same disease. I still remember he was staying down in John Wan O. One of my colleagues, we went down to visit him and bring some dry fruit, nuts, and book for him to read. And I thought that this time COVID-19 maybe just like SARS. Couple months. When the summer comes, then it will die down. That's not true. Up to this point, then you can see it's still up and down. And some of the country is still, facing a very difficult time. And disease, we define disease, that simply talking about is a disorder of the structure or the function in a human being. And we know that, all human being is based on a very simple, a basic cell. From a cell group together, you can become a tissue group together can become an organ, and the organ group together will become a system. Different system is put a human being together. And our life is very, very meticulously put together. And you talk about when we have disease, it's a disorder on our structure and the function. And also there are particular quantity of disposition regarding as adversely affecting a person or a group. Very simple. You know that certain disease is more in certain population. They have do a very simple obesity study, from Japan, and the Japan people migrated to Hawaii. And then also Japanese, they immigrated to the mainland. And they find out that in a different even though they are same nationality, but they have a different show up on different diseases. Obesity is way high, in Hawaii than in Japan, the mainland. So they can infect a person or a group. That's why COVID-19 is the one can be a group. And you can see a lot of this infectious disease is from one person, the carrier, and can give to several. But I just heard the statistic up to a week ago that one COVID-19 infected person is just infected 0.4 to 0.5%. But now, this week, you can see they increased to 0.7. It means one person, instead of in fact half a person, and you know that there's no half a person, only in statistic. In a real person, one person is one person, two person is two person. Half a person is still one person, okay? So you can see, you can infect a person or a group. Disease also organized, this organism commonly exhibit signs or symptoms. An indicator is abnormal state. Then how do you define sign? Sign is you always talking about, oh, I complain, oh, I have a headache, And when you have a headache, that is one of the symptoms. But when you have a headache, the first thing you will say, do you have any fever? So you check the person's temperature. And this temperature, and you check the blood pressure, and you check the lung, and you listen to the breath sound, and all those disease can change our organisms. Commonly that if COVID-19, you change in the lung, and you can change in your respiratory system, and it can change affecting in your oxygenation in your blood. So it's very important that this abnormal stage sometimes can even lead to death. Why? I have a little pictures here you can see. Bacteria can affect to our lung, but COVID-19 is a virus. So, but bacterial like TB, that is bacterial, bacilla. And COVID-19 is a virus. They both can attack to our lung. And fungus can have skin disease, ethnic food, or any kind of fungus. And respiratory, and in our GI tract, you can have fungus infection. Parasite also can affecting into us. We talk about drugs and chemical, and the toxin produced by the disease itself can affecting us. And when we talk about nutrition, that we need to understand the macronutrients. In the macronutrient, those nutrition, they produce, energy. And the energy is to help us to maintain health and give us the spirit. Because you can see the macronutrient including carbohydrate. The carbohydrate is fruits, and we will have a little bit more detail. But in here you can see carbohydrate and protein and fats. These three belong to the macronutrient. It means macro, you need more. You need to eat more. This is the basic. And usually we categorize in the macronutrient that for carbohydrate, we encourage people to eat around 50 to 75% per day. And in the carbohydrate area, we try to encourage people to eat a complex carbohydrate, not a simple carbohydrate. The simple carbohydrate is mainly sugar. And sugar is so concentrated, its caloric density is very easy to put us into the disease state. So we would like to have the complex carbohydrate. The complex carbohydrate is including, we call it fruits, vegetable, grain, whole grain. Not just the white flour, the white bread, the white rice. We would like to have, oat, whole wheat, brown rice, all those. And now you can see people eating quinoa, millet, and those are whole grain food. And those whole grain food, because within there they have the fiber. Fiber belongs to the carbohydrate, but the body cannot absorb. Whenever you eat, you chew and chew and chew, you're swallowing it, and the body cannot absorb, the body cannot digest. But the health effect is very important, because this fiber that we eat, they come to our body, then they will become bigger, the water soluble, like a sponge. They'll absorb more water. When you absorb more water, then you can easier for the body to pass it through. And non-soluble, they will increase the bulk. So you will become like the poo-poo will have more amount. And the fiber cannot be digested. The fiber cannot be absorbed. But to health, that you cannot underestimate about it. It's because they are the brush for your GI tract. All the way to how to clean your gut. Just like in the morning, you use toothbrush after you have your breakfast, or before you go to bed, you floss your teeth. The toothbrush is the flossing, is to keep our teeth healthy and shiny. And for this fiber, they will keep your GI tract in a healthy state. When your food have a lot of fiber, like fruit, vegetable, whole grain, all this kind of thing, then you will have a good fiber in the diet. Then 24 to 48 hours, whatever you eat, the residual will come out within 24 hours. The longest is 48. But if in your diet you don't have the fiber, only the plant-based diet have fiber. Animal-based diet, they don't have fiber. Hey, Barbara, you are fooling me. I chew and chew and chew this piece of meat. It has to be fiber. Sorry, that is not fiber. There might be a tendon, maybe it's a cartilage, but that is not fiber. Only the plant-based, then you can have the fiber. So if you have the low fiber diet, that's the animal-based, the egg, the milk, the fish, the lobster, whatever you eat, and those have no fiber. So when you go to the cane seat, you just sit there and making music, okay? When you make music, I still remember the father of the fiber, and he is from South Africa. And he tell us that, Dr. Bucket, and he told us that if in your population, in the area you live, then people eat a lot of fiber diet, then you don't need a big hospital. But if you have people eating a lot of no fiber diet, please build a big hospital to welcome them. So it's very important. Fiber, the complex carbohydrate, is good for your health. And then protein. Protein is called number one. So you have everything in protein. But we know that, this protein every day, we eat around 10 to 20%. Carbohydrate, 50 to 75. Protein, 10 to 20. And then fat is around 15 to 35. But in Hong Kong, majority of us, we have eat more than 35% of the fat in our diet. That's why created a lot of problem. I will show you why. Okay, carbohydrate. Then 1 gram of carbohydrate, you can have 4 calories. So this is caloric, is the energy that for our body, for growth and development and for repair. And the starchy food, then you can see all kind, that the bread, the pasta, the potato, the fruit, the legume, the juices, sugar, daily produce. And you can see that dairy products can be, into this carbohydrate category. And we have to emphasize, we have to have more carbohydrate in our diet in order to keep us healthy. But this is not simple sugar, not the cake, not the cookie, okay, and not the chips. You have to be complex carbohydrate. That is whole fruit, whole vegetable, as well as whole grain. Okay, protein. 1 gram of protein, then you have 4 calories. Then they are the same as the carbohydrate. So all the meat, fish, milk, egg, legume, tofu, even the protein is in the fruit. Like I have a little apple this morning. With this apple, I have 2 grams of protein. And for life, we already do the research. If in life you only have 30 grams of protein every day, then you are all set. All of us are over intake of protein. So you don't have to worry about you don't have enough nutrient. Except when there is a famine and when there is a war, that is a different story. Otherwise, everybody should have enough protein. And the last but not the least is fat on this macronutrient. 1 gram, they have 9 calories. They are the one that is double, more than double of 1 gram of protein, 1 gram of carbohydrate. So what are they? All the nuts, seeds, fat, butter, cheese, and talking about oily fish and fatty meat. That is all special in the animal, in the meat. The meat, the fat, you cannot cut it out. I remember when I was younger, before I become a vegetarian, and I became vegetarian is when in 1975. So before that, I grew up in Hong Kong, in Tai Po, and Tai Po is Tulu Harbour. When I growing up in Tai Po, in Tulu Harbour, then Hong Kong that time is not that prosperous. Then we still poor. But our staple diet, besides rice, that is very important, we have vegetables and then fish. We don't have that much meat. When we have meat only during festival, just like last week, the Moon Festival, Mid-Autumn Festival, or only during festival, then we can taste meat. But now, you have meat for the breakfast, meat for lunch, and meat for supper or tea. So you have meat. Look at people's, the basket when they go to the market, when they shop in the supermarket. What did they buy? Hong Kong people, we always equate when you can pay for meat, it means you are more affluent. You are more rich than other people. But remember, in a meat diet, you have more fat. 1 gram is equal to the 9 caloric. It's more than double than the rest. Okay, and now we talk about the micronutrient. The micronutrient, from this line you can see, is the vitamins and the minerals, right? In the vitamins, you have all different kind, A, D, A, C, D, E, K, and all the B family. And when you talk about the mineral, you have calcium, you have zinc, you have chloride, you have magnesium, you have etc. Okay, when you talk about vitamins, then you have fat-soluble vitamins. These fat-soluble vitamins that you do need, cholesterol and fat in order for them use in our body. So number A, you can see the fat-soluble vitamins. Then you can see from the carrot, and some other kind of fruit, and special vitamin A is the one that with orange, with yellow colors, that is good with these A vitamins. And then K vitamins, usually K vitamins is in the soil, then to produce the vegetable. Hong Kong is a very lucky place because we don't produce anything. Everything is import. So as long as you have money, you can eat Italian tonight and French tomorrow, American the day after, and then Canadian diet, Brazil or Peru or Japan, Korea, bibimbap, sushi, whatever. So there's vitamin K is mainly from the soil. When they produce the vegetable, then they are the one to benefit us. And also that because we are human beings, also belongs to the animal kingdom, we do have some, vitamin K, but the vitamin K is too low in our body, okay? Is in the large intestine. And from the good germ, like E. coli, they are good in the gut, but they are good in the gut. But when they migrated to the urinary tract, then that is harmful. But so in our guts, you have a lot of different bacteria, the microbiotic that we talk about. And a lot of people, they have to go to buy this supplement. But actually, if you eat the whole grain, fruits and vegetables, your body usually can help you to make this important, ingredient for your gut health. And E, vitamin E, then all the nuts, all the seeds, you can have it. And vitamin D, then you can see from here is mainly, I would encourage that Hong Kong have a lot of sunshine. You just expose your hand, your face, your leg around 5 to 10 minutes. Then you have enough vitamin D for a day. But when you're getting older, then you live a little bit longer. If you're after your age of 60, you might need to expose to 10 to 20 minutes in order to get the same vitamin D. Because when you're getting older, your metabolism becomes slow. That's why you need to have a longer exposure. And they call vitamin D then also from the cheese, the red meat, or from the fish, especially they talk about the deep sea fish. And for the water-soluble vitamin usually is much better. While you have extra, you just go to the bathroom and you pee and you just voided it out. For this, vitamin water-soluble, then you have vitamin B. In the B is a family of vitamin. You have B1, all eat the rainbow color. B2, B3, B5, B6, B9, and B12. And especially have to emphasis in B12. The B12 that is only in the animal. Then if you're a vegetarian, if you're a total vegetarian, then you have to stop. You cannot talking about absorb this vitamin B12. If you're a total vegetarian on a plant-based diet, please, you have to be, on vitamin B12 pill. 1 pill per week, that's enough. Because you don't need a lot. So we would like, if a total vegetarian person, that remember that, go to the pharmacy and tell them that I would like to have a bottle of vitamin B12. You don't need to tell them what blend and how much. It doesn't matter. As long as once a week you take 1 little pill, and that will protect you. Okay? Because vitamin B12 is very important for our nerve function, neurological function. So you have the fat-soluble, the water-soluble, and when we talk about the mineral, I'm going to share with you the mineral. The very first one, magnesium. Magnesium is very important for your cellular process, your metabolism and energy production, and also effect, into your system, and talking about the muscle contraction. So when we talk about this is magnesium, then we can eat, in here like banana, sometime in the nuts or whatever it is. You can find a lot of these minerals in the plant-based kingdom. And then the potassium. The potassium is important, special to control your blood pressure. Some people that when your kidney function is not that good, or when you have high blood pressure problem, and this potassium, I just have a friend, the mother was in the hospital, and she called me, what should I provide with my mom? Because she cannot have food with high potassium. Because right away you can think high potassium is the orange, the banana, or the dark green vegetables. So what she can eat, then I say that it's better to use all kind of melon, like bitter melon, winter melon, cucumber, anything dark green leaf vegetable, they have a lot of potassium. You only have a good kidney to balance it. Well, when you in the end stage of diabetic and your kidney is no more function, when your kidney is no more function, it's very hard for them to control the blood pressure, as well as in the intake, they try to limit lower potassium diet. And the potassium also help, the fluid balance. And in our muscle, in our nerve, also need this potassium. Iron. The iron that we know that important because they carry oxygen in the blood, in the red blood cell, and you have two important ingredients. Number one is the iron. The iron that in one of the red blood cell, you have 4 irons. And these irons is to help us to carry oxygen and nutrient to our body. And another thing is the bilirubin. And these 2 ingredients, when this red blood cell is getting old, from birth to death is 120 days. It means that 4 months. So the bilirubin will go to the liver, from the liver, then you can make the bile salt. And the iron will go back to the iron pool that can be stored in your liver or stored in your bone marrow, wherever they are in the body. They carry oxygen in blood, including improve our immunity and the brain function. And if you don't have enough oxygen to circulate, then it will be affecting into your immunity. You become sick easily, and you have other problems too. And the calcium. Calcium, this is structure component. Mainly is in the bone and your teeth. 90% of your calcium is stored in the bone and the teeth. All right? And key mineral of also affecting your heart, the muscle, and the nerve function. The vitamins and the minerals are essential nutrients. You get them from the diet in order to survive. So you cannot eat whatever it is and they assembling in your body. That is non-essential. When it's essential, it means you have to take it directly from the food that you put into your mouth. And healthy diet. Let's look at the healthy diet. I have some very bright and nice picture, eating like rainbow. Eating is good for your heart diet or whatever it is. When you call a healthy diet, they have several, factors to tell us that. Number one, when you say a healthy diet, you has to be a whole food. 80 to 90% natural, unprocessed, contain only one ingredient, and nutrient dense. Because in the world, then we always put, the dense can be in nutrient dense. Then we can see from this picture, you have the cauliflower and your apricot, tomato, kidney beans, walnuts, the garlic, even you can see the olive or grape or blueberry. And this is talking about, one ingredient. This is vegetable, this is the fruit, all right? And they are full of dynamite, the nutrient. Not like that you have the deep fry, like the chip. Potato itself is very healthy. If you eat the potato whole, or you mash them, or whatever you do with it, you cook with them. But when you put the potato, cut it very fine, and then when you deep fry them, become a French fry or become a chip, then they have a lot of fat there. And that is called caloric dense. It means not too much nutrient, it's more on the caloric energy side. So we just say nutritional dense that with the kidney bean. Kidney bean, for example, that we can see very high in protein. Also in the kidney bean, you have iron, you have calcium, you have quite a few of the mineral in it, and you might have a little bit of the fat, because the bean, a lot of bean, they do have some kind of fat in it. So it's not just kidney bean. It's talking about they are enclosed with a large amount of the nutrients that is benefit to our health. So number one, whole food, okay? Whole grain, the whole apple, the whole, we talk about cook the vegetable. And number two, you need to balance. It's very important to balance between the macronutrient with the carbohydrate, the protein, and the fat. And we already tell you the proportion. For carbohydrate, 50 to 75%. And then for protein, it's 10 to 20%. And for fat, 15 to 35%, And try to balance it with our micronutrient, the vitamins and the minerals. What the nutrient talking about, the micronutrient, we need very little. It's not like in the macronutrient that you need, a piece of bread. But for calcium, that every day, usually that we will say that 1,000 mg if for ladies after age of 50, then they have certain things. Like iron, for men you just need 1 to 2 grams per day. But for women, at least we have 3 grams per day. Because women, especially in the childbirth, this lifespan, they have menses, or if they carry a baby, they have to prepare for the baby to come out, you have lost some blood. So the woman, the demand is a little bit more. So you can see that you have to have the balance into that. Whenever we have one mega nutrient, especially the micronutrient, if you have very heavy, you pay attention to vitamin C. And then when you take large amount, but luckily vitamin C is water soluble. When you have too much, it just passes out through the urination. But it's still too much vitamin C, they already do some research. It can increase some kind of kidney stone or some kind of stone in the body. So we need the balance between the macro and the micro. And number 3, besides to be the whole food, and besides that we talk about we need the balance in between these two, balance onto this nutrient that to maintain of body weight. And you know that to maintain the body weight, simply speaking, we can use the body mass index, the BMI. And the BMI is very easy to calculate. Just use your weight, kilogram, and divide it by your height, meter square. And when you get the result that anytime you're under 18.5, you are too skinny, underweight. When it's overweight or underweight, both is not healthy. And I know that a lot of people, they go for the underweight. They like to look skinny, you know. But when you are underweight, also it's not good for your health, because that also will affect your immune system. And normal is 18.5 to 22.9. When you are a little bit overweight, it's anywhere from 23 to 24.9. When it's obese, it's anywhere greater than 25. If you are more than 30%, that is obese. Then number 4, then you see that when you have a balanced diet, a healthy diet, you need to prevent the non-communicable disease. That's why my subject is N and N. N is nutrition, the N is, other N is non-communicable diseases prevention. And you know that this is non-NCD that have been around us in the past 20 years. This is the chronic diseases, and they kill more people every day than the infectious disease. Because nowadays the infectious disease, you know, is controlled, except COVID-19. You know, until now, we still don't know how to control it. Every country is raised themselves to put out, you know, hopefully they have the immunization. And for the COVID-19, the immunization maybe another 3 to 6 months or even a little bit longer. So it's very important for us to talk about when we eat right, when we have a good nutrition, we'll have a good diet, we can prevent this non-communicable diseases. Number 1, cardiovascular disease. And you know that the heart and the vascular is an important pump. When your vessel is filled with cholesterol or fat, lipoprotein, and then you will block the artery. When the artery is blocked in the brain, you call them stroke. If it's blocked in your heart, you call it myocardial infarction or heart attack. And it's blocking in the kidney, you have kidney failure. If it blocks in your eye, the artery, you can become blind. And besides this cardiovascular disease, also cancer. Cancer is number 1 cause of death in Hong Kong. Cardiovascular disease is number 1 causing death for the Western developed country. And you have over 200 different type of cancer. And cancer, majority of them can be preventable. And chronic respiratory disease, this is including the emphysema, bronchitis, and bronchiectasis, even including asthmatic attack. Diabetic, you can see that diabetic is increasing very rapidly. Sometimes they say that every 6 seconds, then somebody is diagnosed with diabetic. Obesity, yes. In Hong Kong, when I first come back in 1997, in Hong Kong during that time, is every 3 person, 1 is overweight. But now, later on, I will show you the data. It's half. Every 2 person, 1 is overweight or obese. So obesity is epidemic all over the world, not only Hong Kong, you know. And also chronic neurologic disease, the Alzheimer. And we believe beside the Alzheimer, also the dementia, this is into this category. They are long, chronic not acute, like my friend just have an operation, remove of the gallbladder because he have gallbladder stone, and just do the surgery on the evening of Monday, and then he's already home. I asked, is that painful? He said, not too much, because they're doing the micro-optic operation. It's not like the traditional, you have to open a very large incision. No, you just make 3 holes, And they say because they give him the pain analgesic, so it's okay, not too painful. Arthritis, and you can see from this picture, the arthritis, this is a rheumatoid arthritis. And the rheumatoid arthritis usually is deformity. So you cannot use your hand. When your hand is like that, when your finger is like that, how can you use it? Every time you use it, will be painful. And also you have other kind, osteoarthritis, that's the wear and tear. Yes. Gout is another form of arthritis. And I'm sure you might know somebody that have gout. Like my younger sister, not my younger sister, one of my sister, and she have gout for a couple of years now. Every time when it flare up, oh, it's so painful. So I told her, please, eat less of the high protein diet, more on the vegetable and fruit and the whole grain. Her husband lives very healthy, but she is the meat eater. Even though I'm vegetarian since 1975, but I still cannot influence her to be a vegetarian, She still loves her meat. But recently, during the Moon Festival, and she told me that she lose quite a bit of weight. She's so happy. Because of losing that weight, she do exercise and she watch what she eat. Well, after all this year, and finally I can see a little bit light. She will be controlling her gout. I knew, prevent and metabolic risk factors. And you know that a lot of people in our society, we have called metabolic, diseases. These metabolic diseases, they have 5 important indicators. And with these 5 important indicators, if you have 3, then you already diagnosed as this metabolic risk or metabolic diseases. In the old time, they call the AIDS disease, all right? So you can see these metabolic risk factors, including increased rates of blood pressure. You are not high blood pressure yet, but it's right there, sub. Anytime can shoo, then you will become raised blood pressure, raised cholesterol, and also raised blood sugar, overweight, and obesity. So if into this 5 indicator, you have 3 is in this category, you already diagnosed as metabolic, diseases. And these metabolic diseases, a lot of cause is due to we are the couch potato. We love to be not moving too much, but we love to have a can of soft drink, sweet drink, a bag of chips. Well, that is life. But this kind of life will put us into the edge to be the metabolic diseases. The worst obesity epidemic trend. Why? Number 1, more everyday calories. And people just eating more, that's all, And then high fat food. The things that we love, deep fry, and anything that you deep fry with a lot of oil, it tastes better. So you will like, why special youngster, they love these chips, fish chips, potato chips, palm chip, whatever it is, they deep fry because the oil make it tasty. And also the oil make it satiety, can maintain full longer. But remember that nowadays, the obesity epidemic is because of high energy dense food. We have a lot of this kind of food, in our market. Look at that. In 1975, not that many people are really fat or obese, okay? Obesity is defined to have the body mass index equal or greater than 30. This is really obese, And during that time that you can see people in 75 is living more poor, not so affluent, but compared with 2016, look at that. The darker it becomes, you will have more of this problem of the obesity. And this is the true facts, not just imagination. That's why in the world, everybody, majority of the human beings on this earth, then they are on a diet. From 1962 until today, the world population increased 400 calories per day. Everyone, yes, it's more than half a century ago, but it's still very simple. Look at what we eat. That's why. See, you see a lot of, we call junk food, but junk food usually tastes better. You look at the picture, and the meat consumption is increased. And also all kind of drink, soft drink, whatever it is, something with color, something with sweetness. Children, they will not drink water if they have any choice, except you train them when they are very young. Otherwise, they will go for milk, they will go for juice, go for something with taste and with color. And the obesity epidemic trend in Hong Kong. See, I told you that when I first come back to Hong Kong in 1997, then every 3 adults, 1 is overweight. But in 2017, they do a, research and find out that 50%, it means every 2%, 1 is overweight or obese. And our primary student, look at it, in 2014, almost 19%, they are obese in the primary student in 2014. Our children is the biggest, among the Asian children. The Korean, the Japanese, the Chinese, the Singaporean, the Mongolian, and our primary student. We are the biggest. And talk about from obesity to diabetic. This is statistic, from the International Diabetic Foundation. And talking about, estimate that the number of adults living with diabetic, look at it. In 2014, you have 382 million. When you go to 2035, they jump. It's just another, 20 years, 21 years. And from the 382 million will jump up to 592 million, okay? So that you can see that. That's why we say disease is from the mouth. Whatever you put it in, and they have, and let us be smart. Let your food be your medicine, and your medicine will be your food. Look at that. If you eat, let your food be your medicine. They are whole grain, they are whole, they are balanced, they are prevention of diseases. They also prevent the metabolic diseases and also maintain weight. Then let your food be your medicine. Thank you very much.